Today I'm going to show you how to change the oil in a 2001 Honda Odyssey. This process is really simple. This works from 1995 to 2004. It takes 10 minutes, so let's go ahead and change the oil and filter, and we'll show you what tools you need. Here are the tools you're going to need. You're going to need a 3-ton jack because these vans are actually heavy. You're going to need some jack stands. You're going to need 5 quarts of oil, 5W30. Most vehicles call for 5W20, but mine calls for 5W30. You're going to need some paper towels so that you don't make a mess. You're going to need some simple socket set like this. The oil you're going to need is an S6607. We're going to be using an oil filter wrench, just in case if the oil filter is stuck on really tight. We're going to be using some gloves so that we don't get oil on our skin, because getting oil on your skin is not good. And we're going to be using a drain pan. So let's go ahead and change the oil and jack up the vehicle. So start off by opening up the vehicle hood. So go ahead and pop the hood. It's pretty much right next to the door and right next to the carpet right here. Lift it up and your hood is open. We're gonna go ahead and put the hood latch on. Just like that. And now we're gonna go ahead and remove the dipstick so that all the oil doesn't get stuck and so we don't cause a vacuum or anything. We also might as well remove the oil cap. Now let's go ahead and jack the vehicle up, and I'm gonna show you where to put the jack stands. So to jack up the vehicle, you're going to put the jack directly onto that thing right there. Don't put it on the exhaust, put it on that little round thing. So let's go ahead and make sure the jack is on it. Perfect. I think it's on it a little bit more to the left, but we're gonna go ahead and put it on, and I'm gonna jack the vehicle up. All right, the vehicle is jacked up. As you can see, the tire's off the ground. So you're gonna put the jack stand right over here, right where the jack stand marking point is, right here. As you can see, it's bare metal. Put the jack stand there, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the other side. All right, the other jack stand is on. So let's go ahead and lower the vehicle and make sure Alright, now we're gonna put the jack, we're gonna lift it up just so that it touches the little point where it has to be jacked up. There we go. Now let's go ahead and get underneath the car and change the oil. Alright, we're underneath the car, and as you can see, that's the drain bolt right there. As you can see, it says engine oil on the drain pan. So the drain bolt is a 19mm. Usually they're 17s, but mine is a 19. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that. So let's go ahead and remove it. As you can see, the bolt right here, it's now loose. So let's go ahead and remove it the rest of the way. Get the drain pan ready, because once the bolt is free, all the oil is gonna come out. Alright. There we go. As you can see, oil's coming out. We're going to have to wait for it to drain now. So we're going to go ahead and wait for it to drain. Alright, so we're going to put the drain bolt back in. First, we're just going to clean off this little spot. Usually people replace the washer and the whole bolt, but usually whenever I do it, it never fails on me, so we're going to go ahead and put this one back on. Alright, so screw it on. Make sure you're not cross-threading it like I'm doing. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and screw it on, and I'll be back with y'all once I get it screwed on. Or actually, no, I'm going to screw it on right now. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and tighten it down with the ratchet. Don't tighten it down too much, only tighten it down a little bit. first we're going to snug it up just a little bit so that we can tighten it down. There we go. So now we're going to tighten it down, but not too much. You only want to get it snugged up and not too tight because you don't want to break the bolt. So we're going to go ahead and tighten it as much as we can. Let's move this oil pan. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the oil filter, which is right over here. Alright, so now we're going to remove the oil filter. So we're going to try to remove it by hand. As you can see, this blue filter. Alright, so let's see if we can remove it by hand. Yeah, it's not going to come off. It's too slippery. So we're going to go ahead and use the tool that I said. So here's the tool we're going to be using. We're going to be using an oil filter wrench. It's pretty much like a giant socket. It just goes on the oil filter and it breaks it loose without having it to slip. So we're going to go ahead and attach it onto the wrench or the ratchet. And let's go ahead and remove that oil filter. Alright, so we got the filter wrench on. But I put a paper towel on it just a little bit because it didn't fit completely. But let's see if this works. So let's go ahead and get the ratchet. Alright, so the ratchet is on. Perfect. Easy, came off. Now we'll go ahead and get the drain pan ready. Make sure it's underneath, just like that. So now we'll remove the filter. As you can see, all the filter oil is removed. Now we're gonna wait for that to stop draining. So let's go ahead and wait for it to stop draining. So now we're gonna install the filter. But before we install the filter, since our filter is just straight up and not at a side, we're gonna go ahead and add oil to the filter so that we don't crank it first dry, because usually people add it up and not add any oil in it because usually they just wait for it to fill up. But I like adding oil into it so that it doesn't come in dry when we first start it. So let's go ahead and add oil. Drop some a little bit of oil. I don't care because I have another bottle of it. So as you can see, a little bit of oil might have gotten around the ring, around the O-ring. So just get a little bit of oil and just coat the O-ring so that way it makes it a lot more easier to remove. So whenever next time you change the oil. So now let's go ahead and install it. Alright, so we're under the car now, so we're going to go ahead and install the filter. So make sure you screw it on. Let's see, where is it at? Right there. Make sure you screw it on. This might take a little bit because how screwed on it has to be. It might take a little bit. So, depending on how, okay, now we got it on. Actually, no, we did not. Alright, so now that it's on, sorry for the camera, I can't aim at it, but now we're going to go ahead and screw it on. And tighten it down just by hand. Do not tighten it down with any tools. Just tighten it down by hand because since we already got oil on that O-ring, it should be easy to come off next time. So just tighten it down by hand. There we go. So now let's go ahead and lower the car. And we're going to add oil. So let's go ahead and start pouring all 5 quarts of oil. We're probably going to have to use another bottle, a small bottle, because we already poured some in the oil filter. So let's go ahead and start pouring this. Let's open this up. I forgot to mention you're going to need a funnel as well, so sorry. So let's go ahead and start pouring it. If you pour it sideways, it comes out more better. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour our 5 quarts in order. I'm gonna go ahead and pour all 5 quarts in oil and I'll be back. So I just checked the engine oil, I checked the dipstick, it is perfect. I checked it, wiped it off, put it back in, and took it out and checked it again, and it's perfectly fine. It has to be right here. It has to be on the second dot right there, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it, but on the second little dot, that's where it is. So that means the engine oil is perfectly good. I also closed the engine oil cap. And this is how you change the engine oil in your 2001 Honda Odyssey. Remember, this also works from 1995, from 2004, and that is how you change the engine oil. So please give the videos a thumbs up if you think it was helpful. Subscribe, share the videos so other people know how to change their engine oil and filter, and I'll see you guys in the next video.